Hello, good afternoon. My name is Melanie Chanel Rojas Zamora, and today we are going to talk about the sentences semantics. Well, first we have prepositions in sentences. The sentences meaning are structured in around prepositions, which represent the core idea of a clause without specific syntactic details. For example, the basic preposition Harriet called the doctor can be phrased in multiple ways, such as questions, statements, or emphatic sentences. That it could be retain the same fundamental meanings. Uh, Prepositions consist of a predicate or an argument. A predicate is typically a verb that describes the action, and while arguments are the nouns or noun phrases that participate in this action. Predicates and arguments they form the building of the prepositions. Predicates can vary in the number of arguments they can take, knowing as their valency. We have four types of valencies. The number one, the zero, the zero, the zero place predicates do not require any arguments. For example, it is raining. One place predicates require one argument. For example, the bird flew or flew. Two place predicates require two arguments. For example, Mary broke the vase. Three place predicates require three arguments. For example, the officer gave a ticket to the driver. Arguments are the key elements related to the predicate, excluding the additional information like adverbs. For example, in the sentence, Patsy is knitting a sweater in the living room. In the living room is not considered an argument because the verb knit is an intransitive and only requires an object that is a sweater. And in Patsy put the sweater in the or in Patsy put the sweater in the living room, and in the living room is the argument because put is a three place predicate because require a subject, an object, and a location. And we are going to see now what is thematic roles in sentences semantics. Well, the thematic roles was introduced by Charles Fillmore in 1988. Help explain the functions of sentences, elements, or arguments in relation to the main verb, that is the predicate. These roles describe the semantic relationship between verbs and their noun phrases, such as agent, instrument, or experiencer. Fillmore's idea called case grammar, and differs from traditional grammar, where nouns change, and also nouns change form, like in cases like nominative or accusative. To show their roles. Instead, thematic roles are about the underlying meaning and function, and it's not just word forms or positions. Um, the thematic roles describe the different functions that participants or arguments play in relation to the action and or state described by a verb or the predicate. Here we have, and the number one is the agent, that is the person who or thing that performs the action intentionally. The number two is the force. It's an inadditive thing that causes action without intention. The number 3 is the instrument. Instrument is a tool used to perform the action. The number 4 is the experiencer. Is the person or being that feels or experiences something. The goal is where the action is directed towards. The number 5 is the source. The source where the action originates. The action. Sorry. The goal is the source is where the action originates from. The number 5 is the goal. Sorry. The number 6 is goal. Is the goal. Goal is where the action is directed towards. Number 7 we have path, and that is the route taken during the action. The number 9 we have the possessor, is the owner or of something involved in the action. And the number 10 is the benefactive. Sorry, the benefactive. The benefactive is the person or thing that benefits from the action. The number 11 is the functive. Is the result created by the actions. The number we have also the patient. Number 12 is the person or thing affected or changed by the action. And the number 13 is the theme. The theme is the person or thing that involved person or things involved in the action without changing. And the number 14, it's called neutral. Neutral is something present in the action, but not all only directly affected. The number 15, we have the range. Range is the scope or extent of the action. And the number 16, we have the rule. That is the part or function where someone plays in the action. These rules help to understand that relationship between the verbs and the arguments, regardless of word order or grammatical structure. The thematic roles in English are expressed in various ways. For example, it's through word order, the function words, and sometimes inflections. Here we have the agent, so it's important to do not forget that. Well, now talking about the dual thematic roles, sometimes a single argument like a noun in a sentence can have more than one role depending of the verb and the context. For example, we have the subject like Lucy is sat down. Can be both the agent, doer of the action, and the theme. It's the one experiencing the action or change. For it, also the verbs like give and lend, sell can involve more than 3 roles. For example, agent or team, what is given, or and the goal, what is the receiver. And the sentence structure can change these roles. We have also the load verbs that like sprayed or load, changing the sentences. For example, she sprayed paint on the wall. The agent is she, the team is paint, and the location is wall. Also, we have the verb. For example, other example is the verb like steal or take. For example, the thief stole her jewels. The agent is and goal is thief, and the possessor is her, and the theme is jewels. In the complex sentences, We have Susan forced Katie to write the letter. Katie is both um, the patient acted upon by Susan, and the agent is doer of writing the letter. um, the dual thematic roles can occur when a single noun in a sentences serves of multiple roles influenced by the verb and the sentence structure. Next we have the predication. Predication are about how verbs and action words or an action words relate to the thing they describe. For example, verbs don't just do the action. They also describe relationships between things and in a sentence. For example, the dog barked shows what the dog did. That is the word baked. The descriptive predicates with describe or identify the subjects. It could be a stative, describe a state that doesn't shows what the dog did. And finally, we have cognitive predicates. Well, cognitive predicates are verbs that describe the mental states or events in the mind. Here, for example, we have stative, and number one, stative. That is, this predicate describe the state that doesn't change. And also, for example, it could be Ryan knows Chinese. This means that Ryan has the knowledge of Chinese. The incohative, this shows a change to a new state of knowing or awareness. For example, here in Ryan know Chinese, Ryan acquired the knowledge of Chinese starting from not knowing it before. Um, uh, the incohative causative adjective, agentive, in this someone or something causes the acquisition of knowledge. For example, Ryan learned Chinese as an adult. This implies that Ryan actively acquired the knowledge with effort. And the continuative, sorry, causative agentive. Here, the external factors maintaining the mental state. For example, a short stay in China made Ryan remember Chinese. The stay in China helped Ryan to retain his knowledge. And the aggressive, this describes the loss or ending of a mental state. For example, Ryan forgot Chinese. Ryan no longer has the knowledge of Chinese because he forgot the Chinese. Sorry. And the aggressive causative agent, that is, this shows something causing the loss of the knowledge. For example, time away from China made Ryan forget his Chinese. Being away from China causes Ryan to lose his knowledge. And this cognitive predicate help us to understand how mental states change or retain constant over time. And they describe both the acquisition and loss of knowledge, and making language precise in expressing mental processes. So that is all. Thank you for your attention.